Are you ready? Hi, welcome to Ancestry Roads, where we talk about Appalachia and Appalachians. That is our story. And today we are having, or as our special guest, the Appalachian Artisan Center. My name is Sandy, and we're going to go through a tour of the center that's in Hindman, Kentucky. A few things to let you know about this particular center. This is going to be a creativity hub, and we're going to talk exactly what that means and also how the center is helping locals as well as artisans in the general area create art and also build a business for themselves too. So it's an empowering center. And today with us, we have Chris Boyd, who is the Director of Fundraising and Development. And it's really important that Chris was here today because this particular location, Hindman, Kentucky, went through a devastating flood in July 2020. We're going to talk about that more towards the end of the program. But for right now, let's go ahead and introduce Chris to the program. Hi, Chris. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me. Little correction. I am a board member now.
Oh, there we go. Well, thank you for the correction. And that's even more important
no longer the director of fundraising.
Because you still probably have the knowledge of where we're at with the center, what we're doing with the center, and where we're going with the center. And we will talk about the center in the flood in a few moments, but let's talk about what it is. What exactly is the Appalachian Artisan Center?
The Appalachian Artisan Center, of course, was started, I guess it came to fruition, an idea of one of our, around 1999, we got a DLG grant. At that time, they were putting money into small towns, really to save culture, kind of the things that, of course, now we're struggling even more trying to save those. But everything from whether it was learning to embroider or quilting like our grandparents, or, just saving the art of Appalachia. And we got a grant and we built the Appalachian Artisan Center. And it is just, it is a jewel that it is hard to describe unless you see. You can tell somebody you're trying to preserve art and culture. And I think sometimes they come in and they're like, this was made here by whom? We're talking about basket weaving. We're talking about, stringed instruments. So it's a big deal.
I think, and it's interesting because I know that a lot of genealogists watch our program as well. And we do have one genealogist in particular that has a one-place study of the Hindman Settlement School, and kind of educated a lot of us on the Hindman, Kentucky area. I think that if you walk down the main street, you will probably look and say, oh, it's a cute little crafts store. It's an art store. It's a place where I could go buy something local. But it's so much more than that. That's the end of the story, pretty much. The beginning is so much more empowering. And the reason why I really was thrilled that you joined us today is because you do fit the narrative. The center does change the narrative of Appalachia and Appalachians. And I want to let everybody know that's watching that we're going to discuss the programs. And these are the programs listed here. They are detailed. If you want more information, please definitely check out the website. But these programs that you see up on your screen today, these are preserving our culture and our heritage of Appalachia, but it's also changing the narrative. And it's very, very rare in today's world that you get both. And if you wouldn't mind going through and giving us a little bit more detail about each of these items and the programs and what they do.
I would love to. I want to give a little backstory, though, too. I think right now, I love that Appalachia is its own little niche in American culture.
Mhm.
I think for years we were hard workers, or maybe not as, I don't want to say uneducated, but a little more uncouth than our metropolitan counterparts. And now I think people realize we're strong, and we have this resilience that we have learned over.
Oh, we might have lost you a little bit. There we go.
But
of course, you're coming in and out just a little
that we
bit.
have on here is the blacksmithing. Blacksmithing is one of my favorite.
I will tell you too, it's one of my husband's. Well, as soon as he found out that we were going to do the Appalachian Artisan Center, he's like, sign me up. When does it start? I'm there. And that, I think that's, I think what you said is so true, that a lot of people now are realizing that the Appalachian and the hillbilly culture and the poverty is not the true narrative of who we are, and it is progressing. But I really love the very first item listed here, the culture of recovery, because not only are you reaching out to those
Lost you
in
there
need,
for a minute. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Not only are you reaching out with the culture of recovery to those in need, but you are creating solutions for those individuals that are seeking help. And could you give us a little bit of information about the culture of recovery? Oh, we might have, there we go. We got you back. Can you hear me? We're having just a little bit of technical internet problem. We'll give it just a slight chance to catch up. And while we're working behind the scenes on Christy's internet, I just want to tell you a little bit of that I know about the culture of recovery. And there we go. We got you back. I think the culture of recovery is actually helping those that are in recovery to learn a skill, to learn a trade, to learn an art, and to actually become a business person. Christy, can you hear me? I've got Christy coming and going, and she's in a pocket of internet.
I hope it's resolved.
There you go. I think we got you back. Okay. Okay. Can you just go into detail about the first item, the culture of recovery?
So the culture of recovery was a grant written by one of our former directors, 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧𝗧 And it was
Oh no. Our internet paused on her again.
in Appalachia.
Okay, we got you back.
Okay. Life. So you had to be in a. We worked with a local recovery center and drug court. I don't know if people are familiar with drug court, but and we took people and taught them and because those were kind of the trinity is the ceramics, the blacksmithing, and the lutherie. And they would come in, they would learn the trade, like in regular classes. And then we've gotten to where that culture of recovery the Appalachian School, I mean, the Troublesome Creek String Instrument Company, because you had people coming in and learning how to make dulcimers or guitars at the School of Lutherie. And then we wanted to be able to put them to work. You know, it's very hard to find a good paying job after being incarcerated. And so it's just an amazing program. And it, of course, our graduates now, and we have multiple that are employed by the Troublesome Creek Stringed Instrument Company. So the culture of recovery is still here. We're still doing the blacksmithing isn't happening right now because
we're still rebuilding from the flood, so that's probably why the
with the flood last summer. And it was the whole thing was destroyed in the flood. It has to be, you know, completely redone. And our ceramic studio is just now. We got windows in a few months ago, so we're getting there. But it's a long road. I don't think people realize that the devastation was so massive that we're starting completely over. I mean, we had to actually move our factory to a new building in downtown Hindman.
And I think you know, with usually when something hits the news, as the floods of Kentucky did, they're on the news instantly. They're on the news probably that week. You get volunteers and you get a lot of people that come out to help. And then it slowly trickles down and trickles off. And now this is part of what we want to do is see how we, as a community of Appalachians and of a global, because we do have global people watching this, how can we help? And I think that it's important to understand too that the cultural recovery does go and solve a problem that's out there for Appalachia. And you're bringing in the ceramics and the blacksmith. And as you said, the Troublesome Creek String Instrument Company. These are so unique. These are our ancestors and these are our cultures that are continuing through. And what are the artist studios?
So when the Appalachian Artisan Center started, the idea was that, you know, to be an artist, you need your own studio. You need to be a professional. It's one thing to lay it out on your kitchen table. It's another thing to report to work. And so we have incubator studios where we say it's the only, I guess, the only place where we want you to come and grow your business and then leave us. You know, because a brick and mortar building is a lot of money.
It is. And do you help them also with the business side?
We have
They bring in
studios
their art.
downstairs. We have a jewelry.
And that's really amazing too. How
They have their
many
own studio, and we keep it.
I don't want to call them graduates, but for lack of a better word, how many graduates of the artist studios would you say you had?
So I don't want to say, we don't want to call them graduates per se. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's new, but
and I'm going to agree with Kyle here.
Because of the flood, a lot of them came back.
Kyle, I think this is one of the big requests that we have in Appalachia is to improve high-speed internet, especially in the rural areas. And since you mentioned the flood, let's talk a little bit about
that
it.
Is a residual of.
So the flood there was a tremendous amount of rain, and most of us do remember the news from that time. So in July of 28th, 2020, a tremendous amount of rain fell in this particular area and surrounding areas, and it basically wiped out the area. You can see from the picture that the flood was pretty high. It's mud, it's muck, it's anything that you can imagine that would be also be in a creek, and it's flooding and going into these buildings. I thought I heard, Christy, that a lot of people did go to the Hindman Settlement School because it was on higher ground. Did I hear that correctly? Oh no, I think we lost.
I can hear
Oh, you
you.
can hear me? Okay. Did a lot
Yeah.
of people go to the Hindman Settlement School because it was higher ground?
Well, the Hindman Settlement School actually got flooded too. All their offices were destroyed. You know, a lot of their, I guess, past things, that their archives was destroyed. It just so happened it was like the writer's workshop when it was happening. So they had all these people that were here that could help try to, they could move to higher ground, but a lot of it just came so quick. It came so quick that a lot of things were lost that could not be saved. For us, we lost our 𝗪𝙪𝗯𝗰𝗶 Museum, which is our first floor. If you look on the picture, that whole front, I mean, it just blew out. The whole downtown was just, you know, devastated. But our museum and our ceramic studio, all that stuff, it just was eradicated. There's nothing.
How long was it till you could go in to the building to see the damage?
The next day you could go in, and it's just, if you look at the photos the night before, it's very emotional to think that it just started raining. That's what we all keep saying, you know, it just started raining. And then the devastation happened so quick. And it's the next day. I use this, and I hope it's not, you know, political. It looked like
Could you repeat that one more time? We lost you. You kind of froze up a little bit, and I think it's important that we hear what
and
we still got you.
We didn't just lose things, you know. The next day when we lost people.
Yeah, and you know, when you're working also to help people recover before the flood, in recovery in their lives and rebuild their lives, and then to see this, it's really got to be gut wrenching to see this. The center has put together a website, and I'd like to show
County,
the video.
Hindman is, of course, the county seat.
I'd like to go ahead and show the video now and show you guys a little bit about what happened, what they're dealing with, and a little bit later on,
I didn't hear that last part, Sandy.
Recovery. Oh, let me go ahead and get the video started. Screw that up. I mean, it's pretty devastating for us to see those pictures and to see what you guys walked into and what your artist walked into. So you mentioned there's no blacksmithing, the 𝗪𝙪𝗯𝗰𝗶 Museum, the ceramics. You lost your store too, right?
So I think the last thing we were talking about was not just what we lost, you know, life and things seemed minor. It was coming to there were no window, like it wasn't a matter of walking in to check something. There was nothing there to check. Like everything had just kind of washed away. And you know, a lot of our studios for us, or our artists, their merchandise and everything is upstairs. But downstairs were those incubator studios. It's where our culture recovery and going in and seeing grown and there was nothing. And starting something and starting something over are two very different things.
They're very different paths. And when you start over, there's a when you start something, you've got this excitement. When you start over, you've got this heartbreak that you can overcome. But it's going to take a community. It's going to take all of us to kind of join together and help, because you are keeping our traditions going as well as helping others rebuild their lives too. And let me bring up some of the pictures again, because they did go through quick in the video. I mean, this is what we're looking at as, I guess the flood was the 20th of July. So you're looking at that day, the next day, this is the flood. And as Christy mentioned, that whole first level had to be redone.
Well, I can tell you that that photo was probably taken later because there was no debris out there. There's no vacant and muddy. And if you look at the school up over the steps into
Bear with us, guys.
that's for sure.
I know you keep coming in and out. You get like 3 or 4 words and you keep coming in and out. But I think we've got pretty much the idea of, so this photo was taken, when would you
Can
say?
you hear me now?
Yeah. When would you say this photo was taken?
The
You're still breaking up on me.
That's debris that had been cleared out pretty soon. But the first day it was just broken glass and there's nothing there. And it was like a ghost town. It was like a ghost town.
And what's the picture on the left of?
That is where that is the Hazard Community and Technical College building, but it is the home of the Troublesome Creek Stringed Instrument Company and also our blacksmithing studio. And it right now has been completely gutted. There's nothing there.
I guess, what are the plans to get that building up and going again?
So that building,
we lost you.
We're going to put the stringed instrument. We're going to put the stringed instrument company back in that building, and it will there'll be like a stage, a music studio, that kind of stuff. In a different way, but it's going to take us a little while to get there. The expense in and of itself, getting back to there is probably the biggest thing right now.
And then the picture on the right is where your main location is. How far would you say that is gone to completion, to rebuilding?
Well, we're very excited that we have windows and we have, I mean, it really is not back to the way it was, but we do have walls and doors and fresh paint, and our artists are starting to come back. So it's getting there. We have a big fundraiser called Summer Celebration in June, and we're hoping to have everything at least back to where people can come and see, the Artisan Center, the recovery part of us.
Let me see if I can do this real quick. This is kind of one of those days where we're having internet connection issues. My producer as well. So let me see if I can share a screen on your Facebook that shows a little bit of that recovery. Let me see if I can bring that up. And this is just a really, really quick video. So I think as everybody can see, there are walls.
Yeah, there are walls now.
Walls.
I'm really.
And this is all the first level, right?
The hardest thing for our artists, especially the incubator studios and stuff downstairs, is most of those artists or small business, the studios, they didn't have insurance.
Oh,
They
yeah. And there you can see some more of the construction. I mean, this has been where you probably had to bring it down to the studs. This is all new,
Yep.
all new work, everything in. Not only that, any, like you said, the equipment, the kilns, down to the office chairs. Everything had to go. It is damaged in the flood. So why don't we then talk about is something a little happier, and you can also share with us who these artisans are, because they're special. They're pretty special as well.
They are.
Now, I want to let everybody know a couple of things before I begin this part. This is probably one of my favorite parts of this webcast as well. If you go to the website for the center, and my producer will put it up in the chat real quick for us, there's a link to the store. And actually, let me go back. If my producer, there we go. If you'll put the link in, there's a link to the store from their main website. And I definitely need somebody to go in there and buy that quilt before I do, because that is something that I've been eyeing. And I want to also let everybody know that when you look, I just handpicked a few items. There are so many more items up there, and I would have loved to show them all. But some of them that I didn't show are also very unique. And as we go through some of this, I was hoping, Christy, you could just tell us about how the artists work in the center. Obviously before the flood, this was something very important for them to come to. And also, if you're looking for gifts for Mother's Day or Father's Day, this is a really good place, because, again, we are preserving the culture and our heritage here. So let's talk a little bit about the store. These are some of my favorite items. This is so adorable. So you've got a truck with a camper, in the magnolia ceramic mug, and jewelry. You have a lot going on here.
The necklace I'm wearing is by one of our artists.
Oh, that's great. And are these things that they would normally come to the Artisan Center to create?
Yes and no. So in order to sell your items at the Artisan Center, you have to be juried in.
Mm-hmm.
And the jurying process for us is you have to be from one of the areas considered Appalachia in Kentucky. The pottery there is really important. It's significant to us because Michael Ware is we keep artists on our board as well, because you can't have an artisan center board and not have artists on it. He was one of the only potters like west of Berea for, I'm going to say, 30 years. He
Wow.
taught at 𝗪𝗪𝗪 College, but he is very significant. He's probably our top selling artist. People just love his pottery, and that's what he's known for. But he's really been spreading out a little bit, and he helped with the culture of recovery to help them as well. And then our master artist in residence, Kurt ceramics, but he's also were destroyed when his studio. It causes a lot of havoc for those artists as well, by not being able to. If you can't make something, you can't sell it, and we want our artists to know that being an artist is a career.
Mm-hmm.
That is something we really try to emphasize.
I think that's really smart too, because I know that a lot of yarn and fiber artists that I know, I don't think they value their time. that they put in when they start pricing items as well. And this is definitely a career, but it's also a little special. This is a handcrafted item. So I'm glad that you said that.
Well, I talking about your quilt, whenever we give tours or whatever, and we talk about quilts, we try to say it is not the quilt itself. It's, it's the time put into that quilt. It is, and quilting is one of the arts I think we're losing in Appalachia as well.
I would agree. Now, I didn't ask you, but I think we lose you every once in a while with Doug. But I think you mentioned too that one of these artists or some of these artists also lost their home in the flood. Oh, we lost Christy. Okay. I'm going to have my producer work with Christy to try and get her back online. And I will tell you that I will be one of the first proponents. Give me something to sign for rural internet, high-speed internet. So we'll get Christy back in. Thank you guys for hanging out with us and working through the technology issues that we have. This is always live, so you never know what happens, what we get. So let me go ahead and do one of my favorite things is look at more items in the store. These were just some of the items that were available that were not sold out. There are some items that are sold out on the store, and quickly too, I might add. And this kind of goes towards the recovery. And the two items, that the one make amends and the one at the bottom, go towards the recovery. I think we got you back.
I hope it's better this time.
Oh, it is actually.
Maybe that's all we needed.
Yeah, I know. That's great. We went to the next slide, and of course we were talking about shopping, and I was saying that the two items, the one at the bottom and the one on the right, are very, very unique and special. And can you tell us a little bit about those items?
So a lot of times in our cultural recovery programs, they have art classes where they can create items, and they can take them with them, or they can put them into the cultural recovery store, where 100% of what is made from those items goes back into the cultural recovery.
In the bottom one, that has a specific name.
Let me put on my glasses. I'm not sure what it is.
Oh yeah, that has a specific name to what the item is. I think what it was a recovery charm, and it just struck me as I was looking at it. I knew it was from your cultural recovery program, but it struck me as a dual discussion here of how it's also recovery from the floods. And I thought that was very unique, and I'm just amazed at the quality and the craftsmanship. And I want to point out that the cutting boards, there are different cutting boards. I just picked one, but if you are a fan of Kentucky, live in Kentucky, love Kentucky, or anything about Kentucky, he has a very beautiful Kentucky shaped cutting board as well.
We sell a lot of those.
I get now. So if they're in the cultural recovery and they're actually making these items, they are able to sell them or put them in the store. Are they recognizing themselves as artists? Because they are.
Oh, they can. We actually, one of our graduates, 𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗿, who went through our program, who became a potter and created her own business. And and we want them to do that. Mm-hmm. And I love the story of Kim, because she just did not want to come here. She was she just did not. And then we really could not get her out of the studio. And it's just wonderful to see that change and the value of being an artist. You're not just in recovery, you're learning an art form. And when you hear them say, I'm an artist. Another story, and I don't know if you have any of them, but the cowboy weaver. The
Oh,
cowboy weaver.
we have talked about him in some of the Discord channels that we have. Yes.
I mean, Anthony is just, we can't say enough about him because he just has this, not just that he's recovered and he's doing wonderfully in here. I mean, day after, you know, cleaning. And I just can't say, we can't say enough about him because his personality too. I mean, he's weaving and learning on old looms. Like, you know, it's just, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I can see the joy in your face too.
It is. He's so good.
And I think that the thing that strikes me as you go through the stories, that these were people that if this center wasn't there, we don't know what their outlet would have been or their outcome. So I just love the fact that the center is recognizing a need in providing a solution. And again, I say this a lot in all my webcasts. We're changing the narrative of Appalachian with this. And again, your joy is on your face still. So this is great. Even if our internet stops, it's going to freeze you with the joy on your face. So I appreciate you sharing the stories of them, because I think it's important that they understand that we're looking at these items and we're not just looking at them as, oh, they're nice or cute or they're beautiful. We're understanding who they are, not only as an artist, but as a human.
Well, and that's it. A lot of these people have lost value in themselves, and finding out like we're not all good at the same things. And so when we find something that fills us the way whatever was missing does, they give 110%. I just it's a wonderful program, and if there's anything that I could say, I love our artists. I love all the things that we do, but you feel that you are making a difference with the Culture Recovery Program.
And at the same time, you were preserving our heritage and our culture. I guarantee you the cowboy weaver, if you would have asked him 10, 20 years ago, hey, guess what? You're going to be called cowboy weaver and you're going to be weaving on these really old looms. He was, nah, come on, no. So I love it that this was here. It was a spark that gave them their creativity. Like you said, it was there. They just didn't know it and they needed it to come out. I love the stories. And then these two, these are on my wish list. These two just go together like peas and carrots to me. Or as we say in a lot of our Appalachia chats, biscuits and gravy. This just goes together like biscuits and gravy. So yes, this is the quilt that I keep mentioning. It is a beautiful quilt. Look at the work on this.
You know, the thing about quilting is just, so when you jury in for quilting here, there's two ways. One is everything has to be hand stitched, or you have, if you quilt it, it has to be an original pattern.
It again is bringing back that heritage of our grandparents, our grandmothers, their mothers. That's the only way they knew. They didn't go to the store. They didn't go to the online stores or the big local box stores to buy their linen and their bed sheets and things like that. That this was, you know, what they did and they made. And in Appalachia has a million different stories of quilting, how you get first quilt when you were married, or, you know, you helped a quilting bee, however it was. So we've got tons of stories with this. To see this in the Artisan Center just really made me smile. And then the picture that you see here, it's actually, I believe, a watercolor. I think, don't hold me to that. But if you look at it, I really feel I could touch in each blade there. And the old weathered wood really stands out. So, you know, when I saw it, I fell in love with both of these, and I just said, you know, okay, so any of my family that's watching, this is on my wish list for my birthday for these two. They just go together, and they really show.
We always talk about, like, when, you know, quilts here, we always say, if you live in Appalachia, and you don't have a quilt, your mama didn't love you. And so, because when people come from other areas, they're like, they don't realize how much love really was in every quilt that was made, that was given.
Yeah.
You know, I know very few people quilt. That tells you.
I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say that one of the people that is viewers that are watching Margaret also had some family from Kentucky, and we were talking about quilting, and then another individual that might not be in I believe their great grandmother quilted and kept pricking himself. So in the back were little droplets of the blood stains. So, as genealogists, we kind of talk about, oh, is the DNA still there? But that was like a Provence that you have this from your grandmother.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's hand done, and you're going to see things like that. And I will agree. And I will bring the Mel up in a chat right now, because Mel is one of those genealogists that is doing the one place study, documenting and doing a wonderful, beautiful job of biographies and documenting the Hindman Settlement School. So with Hindman, Kentucky, for Mel is a very, very special place to her. And I'm so glad that, Mel, you joined us today, because I agree with you. There's nothing that keeps you quite as warm as your grandmother's quilt. And Mel, I know that she's kind of near your area as well. Do not go in and buy that quilt, because I know you might. Well, I think that this is really amazing. I know that the flood was devastating. I know it broke a lot of hearts. It harmed a lot of people's businesses, but I am so happy that you guys did not give up on the artists, did not give up on him in Kentucky, or this heritage and the culture of the Appalachians. And you went full in and started rebuilding. And I want to talk about now, how can we help? And one of the things I noticed on your website is this absolutely adorable and amazing thing that you've got going on called the 𝗪𝗲𝗄𝗃 Tile Project.
So our giant male horse, Blue, was actually from an NEA grant that our blacksmithing did. It sits in downtown Hindman, and around it we have created a flower bed, and these we sell these. And I really want to say, as much as the water and everything that happened, we didn't lose one single tile around the male horse.
Oh, wow.
And it was submerged. I mean, it is unreal. Like, there are just little things where you're going, oh, wow, because we did lose so much. But these, if you go over there, a lot of them are people who they're in memory of someone, or they're just somebody who has recovered, or just, locals, and they're all still there. And so that's a great program. The biggest thing for us too is, people think to be a donor, you have to give thousands of dollars. And yes, we want those. But the donors that matter are the ones who are consistent, even if they're small, and when they give more than just money. When you buy into the AAC, I think you really have to believe in the programs. You have to believe in the culture of recovery. You have to believe that artists are important in Appalachia, that the preservation of our culture is important. And that's what you're doing, when you become a donor.
I think it just gave me chills with that, because it is true. You have to believe in it and become a donor. And in a way, you're becoming a partner with the center as they do their work. And it's so important. So if anybody anywhere around the world, because I do know we have global viewers, they can go up to your website, to this donate page, and fill out a form and pay a small fee to have a tile.
Oh yeah, and you can go to artisancenter.net. I think you brought that one up earlier, and you can see a lot more. I mean, not just pictures of us, post flood, but pre flood, and our artists and the things that we've done over the years. It's just, it is like I said, it's a gem here in Hindman. It's just
It really is. And I will tell you, to speak to that, we were looking at some of the pictures there, talking about fibers and arts. You have, I want to say it's about 4 feet tall, crochet granny square Christmas tree. I guess the gentleman that was the receptionist, or, checking people out, had the biggest smile around Christmas before the flood happened. I've seen pictures on your Facebook page of parties, musicians, events, things that really celebrate the center and the culture. I think, hold on with us, Christy. We're winding down. And definitely what I want to do as well is, for any of our viewers, keep in mind that when an event like this does happen, it is in the news and it comes out, and you get a lot of volunteers that will come. And in stages, sometimes you get volunteers, but it slowly does trickle. And not only does that part trickle, but so does the funds to try and help. And I want to have my producer put up the GoFundMe link real quick. I can't even imagine how expensive it must be to rebuild, but also bring in the equipment, things that the artists need to learn, to grow, to make a business for themselves. In America, I've always said that it is the small business person, the sole proprietor, or the small business person, the owner of a small business, that really fuels our economy. And if we lose this bit around Hindman, Kentucky, or if they come to Hindman, Kentucky to learn their art and their trade and their business, and then they leave and they go out to other areas in Appalachia, for example, if we lose this, we're losing a large piece of Appalachian economy. So it's not just the culture, but it's also the economy. It's the building of a human in their trade and their love of their art and their craft. So we want to try and support the Appalachian Artisan Center as much as possible. And we're going to load up the GoFundMe, and I'll also make sure that I will put it down below in the description. I'm not sure if I have yet, but I will make sure to edit that. And definitely, if you have anything, as Christy said, we're not talking about you have to donate $1,000 to become a partner. At this point, anything that you could give would be fabulous. If you go to their website as well, they have different ways that you can help out and fund the center, because you're really funding human beings in their art and their trade and their craft at this point. And guess what? You're also continuing to ensure that our culture of Appalachia continues, and our art. And that's really, I think, important. If I leave this webcast with any thought, is let's keep centers like this going. Let's help them rebuild, and or if those that don't maybe need rebuild, but they need help because of the economy right now, let's help keep these centers going, because if we lose this culture, we're not going to get it back. Our descendants are going to look at this on some old dusty book and say, oh, they did that. They did this. So I think it's really, really important that we keep it alive.
Absolutely. And we're so appreciative. I think the biggest thing too about your viewers or listeners has to be with us going out. We have more people out of this area that knew about us before the flood.
Mhm.
Post flood, we really have, been able to show people what we do. We're one of the on Main Street in Hindman. I mean, it's also talking about, our county has, we have three red lights in the whole county. So that's how small we are. And everybody knows everybody, and they want to support everybody. As time goes by, people feel that we had, what last summer was to us, the devastation.
And I want to open it up to if we have any questions And for those of you that will be watching this after we are no longer live, if you have any questions, again, I also have the information for Christy down below in the description, as well as the Appalachian Artisan Center website and contact information. I will definitely add the GoFundMe. And I want to thank you, Christy, for joining us today. Thank you for the internet's, when you go live, you never know what you get. And I think everybody that was in the chat has agreed. Give us something to sign. We're all going to sign up for World Internet Progress in America. Try and get high-speed internet throughout all the areas.
Again, just make sure you can, just if check out our website.
And like I said, I do have two really quick questions before I let you go. The first one is, do you have any upcoming events?
So that's something I'm glad you said. One of the things that we really do here is we like to teach our classes. We have embroidery classes or weaving classes or ceramic classes. Losing our kilns and equipment has kept us from being able to do that. So once we get all that in, we want our center to be back, to be alive. We do offer those, but like I said, we're just now getting back into everything, so it may take a little while, but we normally post those on Facebook and our website.
Okay, and then the best way to support you would be the GoFundMe?
Actually, the artisancenter.net. There's a donate button there.
Okay.
And it's that normally goes to the whole center.
Okay. So then I think we have our marching orders then, and we just got to wait until we can
go to culture recovery or a certain part of, yeah.
So I think that the best thing that I can say here is thank you. Thank you for bringing this, but also thank you for rebuilding. It would have been easy to walk away and say, this is a lot of work, and you didn't. And I really appreciate you joining us today. Before I say goodbye to everybody and play my video that signals the end, I just want to take 1 second and let everybody know that the Appalachian Artisan Center, I reached out to them based on a viewer request, a longtime viewer request, and also genealogist. And his name is Ron. He's not quite feeling the best right now, but I just wanted to say thank you, Ron, because I learned a lot about the Appalachian Artisan Center and also what you do to help bring more of our culture, but the people that you help. And
like we say to everyone, come visit.
So we can. Right now, are you open? We can come.
We are open. You're just going to see our walls and doors, but hopefully again, and we will have it on our website. June 8th is our summer celebration. We have music and food. Nick Jamerson is playing. Our artist will be here demonstrating, and everybody will get to see all the hard work we've put in for the last 8 months.
Okay, Kentuckians, I know a lot of you are already in the chat. And I know I have one small watch party from Kentucky. I expect you guys to head out and report back and let us know how much fun you had. Thank you, Christy. I really appreciate you joining us. And I hope you'll come back when you're completely rebuilt to showcase and maybe bring some of the artists with you. We would like to meet Cowboy Weaver.
Absolutely. We actually have our culture recovery director and one of our artists, our Kirk Banks. They were here today. It's just, this has been, and like I said, that was something that was devastating post-flood too,
it was.
And we're just now getting internet services fully back, and things are slow. So,
but they're moving forward. That's the main thing. One
yes.
step at a time is what you do. So yeah, definitely come back and see us again with some artists too,
yes,
as well.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Okay, bye everybody. I will see you next time.